Have you ever felt that persistent hum of exhaustion, that quiet undercurrent of weariness that seems to accompany your every step? It's not the kind of tiredness that a good night's sleep can fix, but a deeper fatigue, born from the relentless effort of trying to control everything around you. Think about it, the constant striving to meet expectations, the internal battles against time, the friction against others' desires, and perhaps most draining of all, the unending pressure you put upon yourself. We live in a world that often champions forceful action, relentless pursuit, and unwavering control. From a young age, we are subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, taught that success is the direct result of effort, that standing still equates to falling behind, and that the only way to navigate life is to grip the reins tightly. This ingrained belief system creates a subtle but pervasive tension, a constant bracing against the natural flow of existence. Consider the image of someone perpetually clenching their fists. Initially, this might feel like a display of strength, a posture of readiness. But hold that clench for an extended period. What begins as a feeling of control soon morphs into discomfort, then pain, and eventually a profound sense of restriction. Your hand, meant to explore, to connect, to create, is now limited, its potential stifled by the very act of trying to control it. This is often how we approach life. We grip so tightly, trying to dictate outcomes, manage emotions, and steer every moment according to our will. And what is the result? A growing sense of unease, a feeling that life is a constant struggle, and a nagging suspicion that despite all our efforts, something essential is missing. This brings us to a concept, an ancient wisdom that offers a radical alternative: Wu Wei. Often translated as non-doing or action without forcing, it's a core principle of Taoism, a philosophy that emphasizes living in harmony with the natural order of the universe, the Tao. But don't let the translation mislead you. Wu Wei isn't about passivity or laziness. It's not about abdicating responsibility or retreating from life. Instead, it speaks to a profound and often courageous way of engaging with the world, by aligning ourselves with its inherent rhythms rather than fighting against them. Think of a skilled sailor navigating a vast ocean. They don't try to overpower the wind or command the waves. Instead, they learn to read the currents, adjust their sails, and work in concert with the natural forces at play. Their strength lies not in brute force but in understanding and adapting to the environment. Now consider your own life. How many times today, this week, this month, have you found yourself pushing against something that simply isn't yielding? Perhaps it's a project at work that's hitting constant roadblocks despite your best efforts. Maybe it's a relationship that feels strained and resistant despite your attempts to fix it. Or perhaps it's an internal struggle, a constant battle against your own thoughts and feelings. We often fall into the trap of believing that more effort, more control is always the answer. We double down, we push harder. We try to micromanage every detail, often leading to increased frustration and diminishing returns. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom by pulling at its petals. You only end up damaging it. The wisdom of Wu Wei suggests a different approach: to observe, to understand, and to act in accordance with the natural unfolding of things. It's about discerning when to push and when to yield, when to strive and when to allow. This isn't always easy, especially in a culture that often equates busyness with worth and control with security. Let's consider a real-life example. Imagine a musician preparing for a crucial performance. They have practiced diligently, honed their skills, and have a clear vision for how they want the piece to sound. However, on the day of the performance, they might encounter unexpected challenges: a slightly out-of-tune instrument, a change in the acoustics of the venue, or even a surge of nervousness. A musician operating from a place of force might become rigid, trying to adhere strictly to their preconceived plan, fighting against the unexpected nuances of the moment. This can lead to a strained and ultimately less impactful performance. In contrast, a musician embracing Wu Wei would have a deep understanding of the music, but also a willingness to adapt. They would listen to the instrument, feel the resonance of the room, and acknowledge their own emotional state without letting it overwhelm them. Their performance would be a dynamic interplay between their preparation and the present moment, allowing for spontaneity and a deeper connection with the music and the audience. This isn't about being unprepared or lacking intention. It's about cultivating a flexible strength, an ability to respond effectively and gracefully to whatever arises. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful action is to step back, to observe, and to allow the natural course of events to unfold. The tendency to force and control often stems from fear of failure, fear of vulnerability, fear of the unknown. We believe that by exerting our will, we can create a sense of security and predictability in an inherently unpredictable world. But this pursuit of absolute control is often an illusion, and the energy we expend in maintaining it can be incredibly draining. Think about a time when you tried to force a solution to a problem, only to find that the more you pushed, the more resistant it became. Perhaps it was trying to convince someone to see your point of view, or trying to adhere to a rigid diet or exercise plan that felt unsustainable. In those moments, the act of forcing often creates more friction and ultimately hinders the desired outcome. Conversely, consider a time when you were able to step back, to release the need to control every aspect of a situation. Perhaps a solution emerged unexpectedly, or a relationship healed organically when you stopped trying to force it. These moments offer a glimpse into the power of allowing, of trusting the inherent intelligence of life to find its own equilibrium. The journey towards embracing Wu Wei is not about instant transformation. It's a gradual process of cultivating awareness, of noticing our ingrained tendencies to force and control, and of gently experimenting with a more yielding approach. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. One practical way to begin exploring Wu Wei is to pay attention to your body. Notice the moments when you feel tense, when your shoulders are tight or your jaw is clenched. These physical sensations often mirror our internal resistance to the flow of life. By consciously relaxing these areas, we can begin to cultivate a greater sense of ease and acceptance. Another approach is to practice mindful observation. When faced with a challenge or a difficult situation, instead of immediately trying to fix it or control the outcome, take a step back and simply observe. What is actually happening? What are the underlying forces at play? What might emerge if you allow things to unfold without your immediate intervention? This isn't about being passive in the face of injustice or neglecting our responsibilities. It's about discerning the difference between purposeful action aligned with the natural flow and reactive forcing driven by fear or ego. It's about choosing our battles wisely and recognizing that sometimes the greatest strength lies in knowing when to yield. The lesson here is not to abandon effort altogether, but to refine our understanding of what true effort entails. It's about shifting from a model of forceful exertion to one of skillful engagement, where our actions are informed by awareness, guided by intuition, and aligned with the natural rhythms of life. When we stop forcing, we create space for unexpected possibilities, for deeper connections, and for a more profound sense of peace to emerge. It's in this surrender, this letting go of the need to control, that we often discover a more authentic and effortless way of navigating the beautiful and unpredictable journey of life.